What if the moon wasn't just a light in the night sky, but a god, or worse, a warning? Now imagine you're a caveman. The world is raw, every shadow could be death, and every night the moon rises, massive, glowing, changing, disappearing, bleeding red, then coming back again. You don't understand it. So you do what humans always do when they're scared. You make stories, you make meaning. And some of those ancient beliefs, they still shape how we talk, fear and dream about the moon today. Have you ever looked at the moon and wondered, what the heck is that thing even doing there? Now imagine you're a caveman. No science, no words for orbit or reflection, just silence. And that glowing shape in the sky that keeps coming back, changing form, disappearing, then reappearing again. To early humans, the moon wasn't just a background object, it was a presence, a mysterious rhythm. They noticed its cycles, waxing, waning, vanishing. And slowly they started tracking it, etched lines on bones, circles carved into cave walls. Why? Because this strange sky object seemed to control everything around them. The moon's cycle matched the tides, the behavior of animals, even women's bodies. It was coincidence. Cavemen didn't think so. To them it had to mean something. And so the moon became a cosmic clock, helping humans figure out when to hunt, plant, migrate or hide. But that's not even the craziest part. Some of the oldest human artifacts, like the 20,000-year-old Blanchard bone, have markings that may represent the lunar cycle. That's right. Before calendars, before writing, the moon was time itself. And if the moon could control time, maybe it could control fate. Now think about this. Every month the moon disappears completely, for days, then returns. To a prehistoric mind, that wasn't natural, that was terrifying. Where did it go? Was it angry? Was it dead? These weren't questions for scientists, these were questions for survival. If the moon was gone, would the animals stop coming? Would the cold return? Was something about to go horribly wrong? So early humans didn't just track the moon, they watched it with reverence and with fear. Because when you don't understand something, you make it sacred. If the moon controlled time, changed the tides and vanished at will, it had to be alive, right? That's what many early humans believed. The moon wasn't just a light, it was a being, a spirit, a god. In some cave cultures, the moon was seen as a mother, watching over the night. In others, it was a hunter, stalking the dark. And sometimes it was a judge, punishing people for their actions. The moon didn't just exist, it acted. It had moods, and those moods needed to be respected, worshipped, or feared. Take a closer look at ancient art, stone carvings, bone etchings, even fertility statues. Many are linked to the moon's 28-day cycle. Why? Because the moon was often tied to birth, blood, and rebirth. The earliest shamans likely believed the moon controlled fertility, women's bodies, animal migrations, so they danced for it, prayed to it, told stories about it. In some tribes, people believed the moon could speak to the dead, or be the dead watching from above. And if the moon was your ancestor, you'd better show respect, or risk being cursed. Even now, traces of those beliefs linger. Why do so many cultures describe the moon as she? Why do ancient myths so often feature lunar goddesses, moon queens, or silver-haired spirits? It's because for thousands of years, humans saw the moon as intimately human. Not just a thing in space, but a presence in the sky. One that knew you, judged you, and maybe even loved or hated you. To a caveman, the moon wasn't just something you saw, it was something you felt. One night the moon turns red. Another night it vanishes completely. You're a caveman, and there's no warning, no explanation, no science. Just pure panic. To early humans, lunar eclipses were terrifying. The protector in the sky, the god, the mother, the glowing eye, it was suddenly gone. Or worse, bleeding. They didn't know about shadows or orbits. All they knew was something unnatural was happening and it could mean death. That's when their fear turned into action. Tribes performed rituals, drums, fires, screams, sacrifices. Why? Because if the moon was angry or under attack, they had to fight back. Some cultures believed monsters were eating the moon, others thought spirits were stealing its light. So they shouted, clapped or banged sticks to scare the darkness away. In some places, blood moons meant a bad harvest, or even war. People would hide or pray or prepare for something terrible. The sky wasn't just misbehaving, it was warning them. We laugh now, but don't we still act strangely under a full moon? Hospitals report more activity. People talk about crazy nights. Even words like lunatic come from lunar, the Latin word for moon. Because deep down, part of us still remembers what it felt like to stare at the sky and not understand. And when the moon turned red or vanished, it felt personal, like the universe was holding its breath, or delivering a message no one could ignore. Even today, a blood moon still gives people chills. Back then, it could change everything. Here's where things get wild. Different ancient tribes didn't just stare at the moon. They built stories around it. In Norse mythology, the moon was being hunted by a wolf named Hati. In Hindu tradition, the moon was a god, Chandra, who rode across the night sky in a chariot. The Chinese spoke of Changi, a woman who lives on the moon after drinking an immortality potion. And the Inuit believed the sun and moon were siblings, forever chasing each other across the sky. Every culture had its own version of the same question. What is that glowing thing, and why does it matter so much? For many, the moon wasn't just a light, it was a being. It controlled time, tides, fertility, and even the fate of kings. The Mayans tracked the moon with such precision their calendar could predict eclipses centuries ahead. Some African tribes believed the moon was a guardian spirit watching over children. The ancient Egyptians saw the moon as a clock in the sky, helping them map out rituals and harvests. And get this, some tribes even believed that souls travelled to the moon after death. It wasn't just a rock in space, it was the doorway to something bigger. So what did cavemen actually believe about the moon? They didn't all agree, but they all agreed it mattered. To some it was a god, to others a sign. Sometimes it was a monster, sometimes a protector, but it was never just a moon. It was the glowing mystery that watched them dream, warned them of danger, and reminded them they were tiny pieces in a vast, unknowable universe. And maybe that's why we still look up, not just for light, but for meaning. We've stared at the moon for tens of thousands of years, long before telescopes, spaceships, or science. And through all that time, we didn't just look at it, we felt something. Fear, wonder, magic. Cavemen didn't have answers, but they had awe, and that awe shaped entire myths, calendars, and cultures. And maybe that's the point. The moon was never meant to be understood, it was meant to be felt. So next time you look up at the night sky, ask yourself, are you seeing a lifeless rock or the same glowing mystery that haunted the dreams of our oldest ancestors? Consider liking this deep dive into ancient beliefs. Tap that subscribe button because we've only just scratched the surface of prehistoric minds. And if you've got a theory about the moon's meaning, drop it in the comments. I read them all. See you in the next one. And don't forget, someone's always watching.